Hey guys, so we are almost 2 weeks into the new year, and I have finally, and I mean finally, managed to reconcile my 2022 annual budget. I literally sat down, went through every single month, looked at what happened in each month, and then transferred all of that information into my annual spreadsheet. And then now I am ready to share with you how I spent my 88K income that I made in 2022. So without further ado, I do have my trusted laptop here. I will begin sharing my screen and walking you through exactly how I spent that money. The tracker that you will be seeing on the screen momentarily is one that you can purchase from my Etsy shop. So I do have side hustles, and Etsy is one of them, and I sell these budget templates and other ones on my Etsy. So if you're interested, I always have a link in the description bar below. So I'm going to start my screen record now, and we can begin with going through my tracker. So first thing you see is income. I always put income sources at the top of my budget trackers. I just prefer to see what I am working with, where I am getting all of this money. And one thing I should mention for this video is the fact that I have only included income from my 9 to 5, income from my rental properties, other sources, and what have you, and savings used. But I have not included income from my side hustle, so specifically my blog at julidreamer.com and my Etsy shop as well. I haven't included those sources because I just wanted to track them separately. But when I add what I made from my side hustles plus what I have in this tracker together, I actually made over 100K, which makes me very, very happy because that was my goal, to be able to bring in at least 100K in income in 2022. So I'm glad I was able to do that. So I will not be going through every single month here, but I'll pick a couple of months on the tracker where I'll walk you through exactly how I spent this money. And the first column you can see here, which is column C, is expected income. The other one should be expected savings or expected expenses. But for expected income, I put in for my work how much I'm expecting to make. I know how much I make every single month, it's fixed income, but what I try to do is, and I think I've said this in a lot of budget videos that I've done, is that I always budget less than what I make, only because I always create a buffer. So for example, say I get paid £5,000 a month. I won't put £5,000 in my tracker in the expected income. I will put 4,500 because I want to create that £500 buffer, and I want to work with a lower amount so that I know that the 500 that is set there will go straight to my savings or my investment once I have done everything that I needed to. And I also believe in the principle of paying myself first. So for me, I always budget less than what I actually earn to create some sort of buffer with my budgeting. So I put in what I expected for every single income source that I have, and that came to about 5,500 from all of my sources. And like I said, because I budget lower, it just means that I create a great buffer for myself. But if we look across, so January I brought in £6,000, and March is a different month because it's different because that's when I get my bonus. So I brought in over £13,000 in March. The next highest month I believe was July, where I brought in 7,000. Then actually August is better because I brought in 8,000, and then in November I brought in over £10,000. So that is how I came to making over 88K in income. So this is after taxes, especially for my work. Now if we go to the first tab, which is savings and investment, like I said, I believe in the principle of paying myself first. So for me, what this looks like is sending money towards my savings, sending money towards my investments. And then after that, I then leave money for my essential bills, then my variable expenses, and then money that I just want to spend however I want. That's how I budget. So in terms of what I was thinking I'll be sending every single month towards my savings, I thought I'll be sending at least £1,000. Obviously, across the month, it differs. Like, for example, in the month of March, I sent over 7,000 because I brought in a larger income. So I was able to send a lot more than I normally do on a monthly basis. But the average is between 500 to 900 pounds. That's how much I was managing to save every single month. Then when we go to my investments, I invest in my ISA that I have with Vanguard, and I always do Vanguard investment updates every month. Although this year in 2023, I'm not really sure if I'll be doing them monthly. So I have my Vanguard ISA, I have my Vanguard pension. So I have spoken about this before. I have two pensions, one with my employer, part of the employer match. So I put in 8%, my employer puts in, I think, 8% as well. No, I think it's about 4% or something like that. But they match everything that I put in. And last year I did salary sacrifice, which meant I increased how much I contributed, and that upped how much my employer also contributed. So I'm actually sending a lot more towards my retirement. And obviously, who doesn't want to retire with a good nest egg? So I'm focusing on that, plus also my ISA. Then the second pension that I have is the one I manage myself, and that's the one that is with Vanguard. And then I've put GIA, which is General Investment Accounts. So these are brokerage accounts that I use, like as Play Money, for example. Free Trade is one of them that I use. Plum, my savings and investment app, is a general investment account that I have with them. So this is how I invested in 2022. I thought I was going to be sending at least £800 towards my investments, so to my ISA, my SIP, and general investments account. And some months I did that, some months I did not. In the month of April, I sent 1,300. That made me really happy because 1,000 of that went towards my ISA. With ISAs in the UK, we have stocks and shares ISAs where you have a limit of 20,000. So April to April, you can invest your tax-free money, £20,000. And I was hoping to invest 12,000. So my plan was every single month to be sending £1,000. I started, but to be honest, my financial standing changed across the year and I wasn't able to send that. But so far, I have been able to send over £7,000 towards my ISA, which makes me really happy. I still have January, February, March, and yeah, just March, because April it will be in a new tax year when I contribute. So I still have 3 more months to add to my ISA, and obviously it won't be 12,000, but who knows, it might be. When I get my bonus I might add a lot more, but I'm happy with the contribution that I made towards my ISA. So if we just focus on my savings and my investments and how much I brought, I was able to save and invest. So when it comes to savings, I was able to save over £24,000. That number blew my mind. I actually didn't realize how much I had. Obviously, actually no, I lie. I had an idea because I had this goal that I wanted to save £20,000, and I was able to reach that in November. But I had completely forgotten about other savings that I do that I don't necessarily track in my monthly budget. So I was like, oh my god, I actually did save a lot more than I thought. So I was able to save over £24,000. And then when it comes to my investing, I was able to invest over £9,000. Again, it just made me realize how much I have been sending towards my future, and that just made me really, really happy. So in total, I was able to pay myself first over £32,000 in 2022 of the £88,000 that I brought in. I'm happy. Honestly, I'm happy. I have my mobile here with me, so let me do some quick maths and see what that looks like in terms of a percentage. So if I do 32,000 divided by 88,000 times 100, That is equal to over 36% of my income. So I was able to send 36% of what I brought in 2022 towards my saving and my investing. I'm happy with that. I'm honestly really happy with that. So that is pay myself for savings and investment. Now let's go to my expenses. Firstly, my fixed expenses. And obviously, those who watch my videos know I always break my expenses into what I paid for my home, what I paid for my rental properties, my insurance, recreation, and obviously recreation is all the fun things that I like to do. So I'm just going to be looking at the totals, but before I do that, with my mortgage, I did budget that I was going to be sending £700 every single month. But obviously my 2-year fix, obviously to me, not to you guys, but my 2-year fix came to an end in July, which meant that I now had to remortgage, which I did because that then helped me buy my second rental property. And with that, it meant I took out a little bit more money from my lender, and that increased my mortgage. So every month I used to pay less than £700, about £669.71, and I now pay £871.93, which for me is over £100 more than what I was paying, over £100. But it's still, when I was remortgaging, I did look at my numbers, and I never make decisions until I have done my numbers. And if my numbers work and make sense, then I make that financial decision. So for my mortgage, I was able to send over £10,000 to my mortgage, which is absolutely crazy, but that's what that is. So for my main home expenses, I sent over £14,000 in total. So this is my council tax, my combined utilities, water, my cleaner, house cleaner and window cleaner, TV license, and home maintenance. So over £14,000 was sent towards my main home expenses. Then I do have insurance, and my insurance is the expensive kind for few personal reasons. I have critical care. I have an insurance whereby if I was, God forbid, but if I was to lose my job and I didn't have obviously a job to pay me an income, I have that insurance where they will be paying me until I find a new job. So I kind of just try to cover myself as much as I possibly can, because I have 3 properties and I don't want to risk anything. So I pay quite a bit when it comes to my insurance. And even though I'm not surprised, but I did just have to shake my head. I was just like, I sent over £2,000, almost £3,000 towards the various insurances that I have. And again, not complaining, purely because I know why I have this type of insurance and what I want it to do for me. The insurances that I have, for example, for my mortgages, is one whereby at the end of my mortgage term, which I had put at with my financial advisor, we agreed to put between 30 and 35 years, is at the end of that, whatever balances I have, then my insurance company will pay my mortgage off, so that, you know, I will be mortgage free at that time. Obviously that is mostly important for my rental properties, but for my main home I have a repayment mortgage, so every single month I'm reducing how much I am owing my lender. So I sent over £2,000 towards my insurance. The next one is recreation. So for me, recreation is kind of my fun things like Amazon Prime, Netflix, Disney, Spotify, and all of that good jazz. On average, I spend about £50, but overall across the year I was able to send just under £1,000. And I know I just said just under because it's still a lot of money, but for Amazon Prime, Viki Plus and Disney Plus, Viki Pass and Disney Plus, these 3 I save up for in advance. So in 2022 I saved up for the renewal in 2023, so I already have the money ready for Amazon renewal, for Disney Plus renewal, for Viki Pass renewal, because These are things that I love, I absolutely enjoy, and I'm that person in the family that pays for all of these subscriptions so everybody can use it for free. Now, Netflix, I know what you're trying to do, but don't do it, because a lot of us really love Netflix, but we're gonna bolt if you start doing this address thingy-majiggy that has been talked about in the news. So watch yourself there, Netflix. But I spent just over £900 when it comes to my recreation, my subscriptions, I should say. Then for health and lifestyle, I did have the gym membership, Peloton, and just general health. I sent £800, which I'm not surprised by. I'm surprised a little bit, but also not surprised at the same time, because some of the costs in this £800 is towards my dental. So surprised and also not surprised, but thankful that I had the money to pay for these things. Spending, my personal spending. So this, I include like my cell phones, I include beauty, shopping, and personal growth as well. For this, I spent over £3,000 on myself, on things that I like and I wanted, and I'm happy with that. I'm not too mad about this. I'm happy with how much I spent. Then tithe and giving, I have spoken about this many times on my channel. I'm a Christian, I believe in tithing and giving, so every single month I try to do 10% of everything that I bring in, except the savings, because the savings I've always tithed on already, so I don't tithe on that again. But I try to do 10% every single month, and in 2022 I was able to tithe and give over £7,000. Again, I could do better. I personally feel I could do better, but I'm also very happy with how much I was able to tithe and give. Now, the most exciting part, actually, first, before we go to the exciting part of variable expenses, let us talk about total expenditure for 2022. I sent £28,000 towards my fixed expenses, towards the roof, the four corners of my life. So we're gonna do the same thing, and we are just going to do the calculations. So we're going to do 28,000 divided by 88,000. That is equal to times 100. I'll just finish up the calculation. It's 31%. So 36% I sent towards my saving and investing, and I spent on my four walls 31% of my overall income. Not bad. Not bad at all. Not mad at it at all. So now for the fun part, because this is where you have an opportunity to save money. Variable expenses is where you have an opportunity to save money. And for me, hey, God of gods, let's look at this quickly. So for my food, I average between I want to say 150 to 200 pounds every single month, and for food I was able to spend 3,500, over 3,500. Am I surprised? No. Am I mad? No. I'm happy that I was able to feed myself over 3,500 worth of food. Where that food is, I can tell you, some of it is on my arms. Wish it would go on my butt, but it didn't. On my arm and my stomach. That's where the evidence of that 3,500 is. So Bob's your uncle there. Then if we go to miscellaneous spending, and this one I broke it down into proper miscellaneous, then subscriptions, bank fees, and if I made an extra payment towards my mortgage, all of that good jazz. For miscellaneous spending, that came to over £14,000. Now let me explain. So it's not what you think. So in miscellaneous, because on my tracker I did not create a tab for travel, this is where the majority of this is coming from. So I didn't exactly spend £13,000 in miscellaneous spending, but because I had nowhere else to plug this in, I mean, I could have created a tab, but I didn't. I was trying to replicate my monthly budget template, so I just plugged everything that was not on this template, and two, I use especially for travel here. So £13,000, I want to say in terms of miscellaneous, it's about I want to say maybe between 1,000 to 2,000 pounds that I sent to miscellaneous. The rest went to my travel. I traveled 10 out of 12 months last year. I did 2-week vacations. I did 1-week long vacations. I went to Dubai twice. I went to Zambia, to Malawi. I went to Vietnam. I went to South Korea. Where else did I go? I went to Malta, I think. I went to a lot of places. And firstly, Africa ain't cheap, because when I go home to my home country, Zambia and Malawi, yeah, I spend a lot. So this is where miscellaneous is. It's not that I just splashed out miscellaneously on things. No, this didn't have a home on my template, but the majority of this, almost 10,000 pounds, is towards my travel. So that where that is. So that 14,000 is slightly misleading, but just think of it as it includes travel as well. I could have put this as a line item so it would have explained better, but in any case, that's where that money went. And then for transportation, so this is like fuel, parking tolls, using public transport, all of this, I spent 1,200. I was actually quite impressed by this, because for some reason I was thinking I was going to spend a lot more, but I didn't. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm not crying wolf over this. I'm just surprised, because especially with the price of fuel, but then again, I work from home. The only long trips I do are to my parents to see my friends and to the airport. So again, not surprised, but happy with how much I spent. So that is everything on variable expenses. So thanks to travel, I was able to spend over 18,000 pounds when it came to variable expenses. Like I said, variable expenses is where you have the opportunity to save money. So I can see some categories here. Miscellaneous I will ignore because of the travel component, but there are other variable expenditures like food, where I know I could curb myself. For the month of January 2023, I am trying to going back to assigning an amount each week. So 2020, 2021, and 2020, part of 2022, I assigned between 20 to 25 pounds a week for food. If I didn't spend that money, I sent it towards my savings. Now I know that things have gone up a lot, so I know that 25 pounds is not gonna get me far, so we decided on 50 pounds. So every week it's 50 pounds, which then obviously is 200 pounds a month on food. So hopefully I will stick to a 200 pound budget every single month. So far so good, I'm doing well so far, but fingers crossed nothing changes or throws the spanner in the works with that. So that's variable expenses. We're not going to calculate the percentage purely because the travel component has thrown that part off. So now we can go to my rental properties. So like I said, I bought my second rental property in July time, and I got my first rental payment in August. So when it comes to my rental properties, you can see that I spend on my first rental property about 500 pounds every single month. So I was able to send over 6,600 towards rental expenses across 2022. And then for the second rental property, I spend about 419 pounds every single month. And obviously this rental property was purchased in end of Q2, beginning of Q3, so I was only able to send over 2,000 pounds towards expenses for this rental property. So in total, when it comes to my rental properties, I spent over 8,600 pounds in expenses. So that's the mortgages, the insurance, landlord insurance, and all of that good jazz that I need to have for my rental properties. But these rental properties, I think I've said this in a rental property video, that they are what I call self-sustaining, because I get enough income from them that I'm able to pay these bills and also able to save some money. So that makes me really happy. So rental income just over 8,600 is what I was able to spend on them. So if we now look at the total expenditures, so savings and investment over £32,000, fixed expenses over £28,000, rental expenses over 8,600, and then variable expenses, again, like I said, this is skewed because it includes travel, but that's over £18,000, and it zeroes out because I practice a zero-based budget, which means my income minus my expenses equates to zero. This, again, I've said many times on my channel, does not mean that my bank account is zero. It just means that I have assigned every single pound, every single pence that I earn a job. Every single pence is assigned a job, and I love doing that because when money has been given instructions on what to do, it works better than when you don't give it a job and it tells you what it needs to do. That is the very, very scary position to be in. But looking back, I am really, really happy that firstly I was able to earn the income that I earned. And I'm not bragging or anything, but I'm really, really grateful that all of my hard work paid off, especially with other income. Obviously, my job, I work extremely hard so that I can earn the income that I earn. I'm fortunate to work in the pharmaceutical industry. So that income is obviously not guaranteed, but it's something that for as long as I'm employed with the employer, I do have that money coming in. And then my rental properties, this is the best investment that I've made for myself for now and for the future as well, and that is bringing in income. Obviously, we don't know what the UK government is doing, and for some reason it's starting to feel like they're penalizing us small landlords with the taxes and what have you, but I am sure we'll figure out a way to survive. For me, my thing is I don't want to be increasing my rent every single time. Like, I put off increasing my rent on my first rental property when it came up for renewal because I just felt like we are all struggling and I don't want to put too much pressure on my tenant. But I also know at the same time it is a business, because if I am having negative equity, that will impact me, so it won't even be beneficial for me to have that rental property. So 2023, maybe I will increase it by like £50 or less. I'm not really sure, but I'm going to discuss with my accountants and with my financial advisor and see what makes sense. But I always say this, when it comes to rental properties, I am human first, business second. Maybe this would not allow me to progress as fast as other people, but I just think you just have to have that human element in there with you, and maybe that might be a lot slower for people, but it will be long lasting in my opinion. So that is the end of my video. This is how I was able to spend my 88k in income that I made in 2022. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think, and also how did you manage your money in 2022? Do you have an annual tracker where you see where you spend all your money? Let me know. Talk to me in the comments, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.